standing outside my condo getting ready to go to Austin, Texas today to spend 4 days with Keith Cunningham on buying or exiting a business, and just waiting on Uber. We'll keep you posted on this journey. Okay, so we finally made it to Austin, Texas, and a little nugget that I wanted to share is I've had people all the time ask me about how do I be in trainings all day and still get actual work done. So one of the secrets is, of course, I always travel with a laptop, but that's no big secret. But I also always travel with 2 extra monitors, because dual screens, I've always had dual screens or more. So of course you always have to have your normal carry-on for your clothes, and then you've got to have your mobile office. And inside this bag is where you've got everything you need to work, just like you're at the office when traveling. And there's other ways to do it. I've done it with like adding an extra iPad Pro or something like that. So now you're set up to work in about 5 minutes, wherever you're at. I'm set up in the kitchen. Traveling with 2 screens is key. So no matter where you're at, you can service the client, you can help people grow their businesses, and also stay on top of your own stuff. And that's how I do it. Okay, so I just arrived at the Keith Cunningham How to Buy or Exit a Business. Gonna head into class, and I'll update you all later on some great information that I've learned. All right, just got back from the first day of buy or exiting a business with Keith Cunningham, which I trained with him about, I don't know, maybe a month ago on the 4-day MBA. This is an interesting painting. I'm at an Airbnb. Place is nice, but interesting painting. So what I want to just give some highlights of kind of the stuff that we talked about today, which is some of the stuff we've heard before and I execute currently in the business. But there are some new things that, one, I didn't know that was that big of importance. Well, that I haven't been putting that big of importance, and second, just some new things. So let's dive into those. A couple of things we talked about was, one, if you're going to buy or exit a business, how to know what multiplier to use. And then the other thing is EBITDA. So obviously when you're buying a business, it's EBITDA times the multiplier of the valuation of your business. And the core parts of the evaluation of the business with the multiplier are risk, of future earnings is one of the big ones. So anytime you can avoid risk and help have sustainability and future growth. So sustainability and risk are the 2 things that help with multiplier. Obviously the industry and environment have stuff to do with that, but that would fall under risk. So understanding the multiplier of your business, and some good benchmark tools too. There's some stuff you can get online, some books you can buy, and those things to get some benchmarks from the industry. But obviously the best benchmark is comparing you to your best month that you've ever had. And how did you get there? Was it some type of anomaly? Or is it actually repeatable if you executed effectively on everything? Okay, so a big one also today was, and I've said this many times, was cost of doing business. Oh, that's just the cost of doing business. Where it helps you justify kind of when you're buying stuff that may just be for you and not really to help. But looking at everything as an investment, and every investment in the business should be for 2 things. One, to retain an existing company. Huh? Ooh. To have lower churn rates, to get more referrals from your customers. The second reason is to acquire a new customer. Those are the only 2 things, because we want to take assets and produce sales. Sales convert them to revenue, and then revenue into profits, and then profits into operating cash flow is kind of the core, and then repeat the cycle. So those are the things that you want to do, but looking at everything as that, an investment in only 2 things, something that either retains a customer, so lowering churn, and or getting more referrals from those customers, or acquiring a new customer. And then assets, which an asset, whatever you're buying, needs to be an asset that does one of those things, that creates sales, Those sales create revenues, those revenues create profits, and those profits create operating cash flow. So, and to not get in all the minutia of the accounting and the business side, but some stuff that's applicable in life would be a couple things. There's no natural just born NBA basketball player, NFL football player. Also the same thing in business. So there's the artist technician side that a lot of people start a business because they're really good at a plumber or marketing or whatever it is, but they don't understand the business side. And it's something that you have to hone your skills, and that's one of the things that I try to continue to do, and why I'm here at this event in Austin, is to hone my skills to become a better business operator and owner. Because I've got the technician side down. I understand human behavior, I understand marketing, I understand technology. I'm very good at those things, but it's honing down on those skills to know how to work on the business and not just in the business. So the other big thing, which is applicable if you're not into business and all that, just a life thing, is that life is about, acquiring resources, assets to have better choices. So money doesn't make you good or bad. It just makes you more of who you are because it gives you choices. If you made bad decisions before money, you're probably going to make bad decisions after money. But if you make good decisions before money, you'll probably make good decisions with money. So life is about having choices, and money allows you to have choices and options, and better choices and options. So you can have better skills and tools and better choices and options. So that's kind of what I would bring back, as I said, pages of notes of stuff today to go back and execute on, things that I knew but hadn't been executed on, and kind of motivating me to become better at managing and watching these things. And then also some new, amazing, great ideas. So I'll update you all tomorrow on exactly what we learned tomorrow, and I'll see you all then. What's up? I'm back at the condo. Just came in, got out of class a little bit earlier today. Got to see an amazing sunset here in Austin. But I'm back here and wanted to talk a little bit about today. So got out of class a little bit early, so I got to experience the sunset. I hadn't really spent a lot of time in Austin. I've been here 3 times, but always for training. So got out of class so early, got to see a little bit of the city for maybe 30 minutes. So anyway, let's dive into what we talked about today that I think can add value whether you have a business or you don't have a business. Okay, so some of the things, I'm trying to make this not so extreme core financial and business and those things, and stuff that for those of you watching can just apply to normal general life. But one of the things I want to talk about is setting rules for yourself. So whether it be in a business, setting rules for how you manage yourself, because rules kind of protect you from yourself. Setting rules. So an example of a rule would be you don't buy a business that's not producing X amount of revenue or not bigger than this, because you don't really have the capability of doing that. So a rule for your basic life may be where you kind of set a standard or a rule of, like, you don't smoke, you don't do drugs. So those kind of protect you from yourself, so they're non-negotiables for yourself. So setting non-negotiables around things that you do in your business, your personal relationship, and those things. So what are the non-negotiables, the rules that you set for yourself? So set up those rules for yourself in everything in your life to protect yourself from yourself, because we're kind of, most of us, we are our biggest enemy. So one thing about leadership, and in business, you've got to be a leader. In a relationship, there has to be a leader. In a family, there has to be a leader. But the leader has to be willing to have the hard conversation. So if you're a parent, having the hard conversations, not always trying to be your kid's best friend, but also in business, not always trying to be your employee's best friend, and always going for being able to have that critical conversation that needs to be said. And until the unspoken is unsaid, it's hard to make a change. So you got to take those things that you need to say and say them to actually get the growth that you want in business and life or anything like that. That was one key takeaway that be taken across any aspect of life. So the other thing I want to talk about is the guy that's training this had $1 billion company, has been very successful business, been doing it for 40-something years, 48 years, but he lost $100 million. And I was talking to somebody earlier about this today. Like, there's a couple of ways of mindsets you can have. You can see things on the way, or you can see things in the way. You can be a victim, or you can see everything as an opportunity. So he lost $100 million. And from that, he made a whole list of rules for his life. And now he sees the value that, yeah, I lost $100 million, but it saved me more than that in the future because I learned so much. So taking whatever it be, whether you lose $10 or $10 million or $10 billion, and identifying the lesson so you don't do it again and not be the victim of it, and see it as an opportunity to grow and learn from it. So taking the bad things and finding the lesson that needs to be learned, so one, you don't repeat them, and two, it gives you tools. Some of the worst things that's happened to me in my life are also the best things that's happened to me in my life. So that's kind of the takeaways from today, and I will be back in class tomorrow on Saturday, and I will update you again on some nuggets that you can carry through and maybe improve things in your life. Okay, so I'm back from day 3 of the buy or exiting a business here in Austin, studying with Keith Cunningham. If you haven't heard of him, I highly recommend going and Google him. Lots of experience, 48 years in business, and dealt with billion-dollar deals, million-dollar deals, and just, I believe, is a great resource if you for business owner and operators. So a couple things we went over today was valuation types, corporate structure types, analyzing deals, which is also good. Like, I'm not trying to buy or exit a business right now per se, but it's about having your business exitable. So having the business, so if anything were to happen, you're ready to exit, you have an exitable business. So it's good even if you have a business and have no intention, it's good to just be ready for that. But to not get too deep into the details of what we went through today, because it's kind of boring, it's financials, it's accounting and those kind of things. A couple of things I wanted to give, some nuggets that I think anybody can apply. So one is not being proactive in things. So for example, the best time to ask for money is when you don't need it. And actually power and need work inversely. So if you're very needy, you don't have a lot of power. If you have a lot of power, you don't have a lot of need. So being in a situation where you're not needy, so going and asking for money for a deal before you need it. But you could also apply that in life, like have savings and money in the bank so you have power with that money, and then you're not as needy. So you have options, and by having that power gives you options. It's not about power of controlling people and controlling things. It's about having the power to have good options in your life. And that's what really makes life better, and that's really what money's for, is to give you options, higher quality options. Okay, so 4 questions you should ask yourself in business, but I think this also applies to relationships, even long-term relationships. So who do I want to buy from me? These are 4 growth questions. Who do I want to buy from me? In business, who's the customer? In a relationship, who's the person that I want to attract? Who do I want to have a relationship with? What's that type of person? The next thing would be, what is the competition doing to get these people? So if you have a company that's bigger than yours that's getting the customers that you want, what are they doing that's making those customers come in? In a relationship situation, what are the people, the customer, the relationship that you try to choose? If they're dating someone else, why are they dating them and not you? So who do you have to become to be that person? The next thing would be, what would it take to get them to switch from the competition? And the other thing is, what would I have to do to keep them coming back? So what would I have to do in the business to have a customer to say, I'd have to be crazy not to do business with you, and building everything around there. And kind of goes to the other lessons we talked about, how there's two, everything in life should be looked at as an asset, but there's 2 real assets in a business when you should invest. You should invest all your money into getting a customer and keeping a customer. Those are the 2 things. So if we put that in a relationship perspective, for those of you who don't have a business, it'd be of, what do I have to do every day so they keep staying with me? So you don't have to end up in a divorce situation. You don't have to end a relationship that you don't want to end. So what do you have to do to keep them coming back? That's the real 4 growth questions, and really anything that you can kind of, 30,000 foot view it and sum it up into that. So tomorrow's the last day of the event, and we'll be going over a bunch more stuff, which I'll share some of it and try to make it applicable to anybody. But so that's it for today. Just got back from dinner. to a place over here in Austin. It was pretty good. It's a very long day today. It was almost 12 hours of training, but very good information. Just my head's kind of spinning, so if I look tired, it's probably because I am. But I'm gonna hop up here, do some emails, and catch you tomorrow. Okay, so finally landed in Knoxville, Tennessee. We had a 2-hour delay over in Austin today, so it delayed getting into Knoxville. I'm gonna be here for about 22 hours. I'm flying out again tomorrow to go to Houston to another deal, but I got some meetings I gotta make it to tomorrow. Yesterday I didn't get to update after the event. It was 11, 12 straight hours of just accounting and financials. Remember, trying to bring value to everyone and not just people in business and those kind of things. But the big thing I wanted to talk about, it was a takeaway for anyone, whether you're in business or not, is there's a massive difference between earnings and cash. So also remember that in normal life. So there's a big difference between, now some people that drive very nice cars, have expensive houses, expensive clothes, they have money, a lot of it, and they're very financially sound. But some of those people have a lot of debt. So earnings and cash. So like you could have a business like Uber who has made, you know, billions of dollars in a quarter, but also lost 400 million as well. So by earnings standards, they're a massive business. By cash standards, they're not doing very well at all. In fact, I think they lost over $400 million in Q2 of 2018. So remember that too. Like you could have somebody who has a massive social following that looks to have this huge big life, but they really don't. So focus on what matters, and that's the end in mind, the results. The cash, the actual life that you want, if it is cash. I keep talking about cash a lot. You know, for some people that's $30,000 a year, for some people that's $30 million a year. It doesn't matter how much that is. You could be rich at $30,000. Just be sure that that's exactly what it is that you want and enough to support you with whatever you feel is success. So I'm about to get my luggage over here and head to an Uber, do some work tonight with our India office, and then tomorrow I got a bunch of meetings and fly back out. Talk to you soon.